guys, David Vonderhaar here to tell you about the latest patch to Black Ops 3 that coincides with both Groundhog's Day because we continue to make the same mistakes over and over again despite knowing what will happen next, just like in a Biblical Reaper video, and the release of the Awakening DLC on PlayStation 4 first because Activision is spelt with a $sign. It contains 4 brand new maps, 3 new maps and a reskin, which will play nothing like the original, so it basically is a new map, and a new zombies experience. What, no gun? Well, instead of putting in a weapon that's as useful as fallopian tubes on a lesbian, we gave away 3 new weapons and supply drops like Advanced Warfare did, so that kids will steal their mom's credit card to acquire something that is purely cosmetic until someone figures out the different melee speeds. On the topic of new maps, we finally put Exodus back in rotation on the PS4 because it doesn't crash harder than Paul Walker anymore. Not that anyone missed it because the textures take a round and a half to render anyways. This also means that the Xbox One and PC don't have an extra map than the console, which is paying for my third Vondergini. Oh, and since we're taking cues from Destiny, the patch is 9.5 gigs, which basically means that we're shipping the maps with the patch, but you need to get a virtual key by throwing money at the screen in order to unlock them because people seem to be fine with defending games that make you pay for content that you already have. More on maps, we finally fixed a problem that hasn't been an issue for 6 years, but somehow we reintroduced it into this half-assed product. Players are no longer allowed to infinitely vote for a map, so this way you can actually play on maps that aren't the size of your dick, aka Combine, on a loop. On to general gameplay mechanics, we eliminated a bug whereby people could move faster by sliding immediately before landing from a jump. Even though the game is much better and much more popular, this isn't CSGO. We don't want an equivalent of bee-hopping all over the map. Sliding is only meant to get ahead in DMs. Wait, what? If you Y while doing that sequence, you could still do the G-slide anyway? Well, fuck, it looks like we forgot to test that aspect. But we did fix a bug with the footsteps while crouch walking or walking while ADSing. Before the patch, it would not reduce the sound, even though it's the only counter to awareness. Not even Dead Silence will counter it. Isn't it amazing when we actually take the time to put in footstep audio, unlike the past previous Treyarch games? We completely botch it up. Speaking of footsteps, we also had to rebalance the footsteps on the Reaper Specialist character since it had built-in Dead Silence. You'd think a giant metallic robot would be much heavier than a human and produce louder footsteps, but logic doesn't apply in a Treyarch game. We also slightly nerfed awareness as well because it was getting to the level of Sitrep Pro in Modern Warfare 3, which completely ruined the game. From audio to visuals now, we finally put in a colorblind assist option on the main menu after not shipping the game with the feature and waiting 3 months to actually ship it, thus confirming that Treyarch hates handicapped people. That's right, when I get to work, I park in a handy cripple spot because I'm David Vonderhaar, bitch. Actually, that's not true. I don't even drive because I have bodyguards surrounding me after the DSR debacle. Anyways, back to visual updates. We also changed the black market animations and added a spark effect to the brass knuckles taunt. Whoopee! Speaking of weapons, we finally fixed the overkill VMP invisibility issue where people wouldn't show up on the minimap at all, even when firing a gun without a suppressor. All SMGs got a sprint out nerf because people are having far too much fun running around, and we wanted to buff posting up on head glitches instead of actually rushing. And just to remind everyone that we didn't forget what made our games fun in the first place, we did another round of buffing score streaks. Since the Wally was deadlier than the Zika virus when player controlled, but dumber than Forrest Gump when AI controlled, we just increased the targeting speed, accuracy, and damage for the Cerberus when in AI mode. We also increased the health of the dropships across the board since having only lock-on launchers in the game was a brilliant design decision from the start. But we also made it such that anyone that dared to get a mothership in free-for-all would actually be able to be shot down by launchers now. We also buffed the Hellstorm missile to increase the speed and blast radius of the bombs. We unfortunately didn't tune it back to beta level, and we also fixed the bug with the Hellstorm where you could have unlimited Hellstorm missiles without earning it, although they'd be as potent as a wine cooler without the previous buff. Other score streak bugs include having teammates no longer being able to damage friendly score streaks in hardcore because we, like the console manufacturers, look down upon trolling. And AI-controlled score streaks no longer count towards the kick limit in hardcore. Yet we still aren't smart enough to put friendly fire on them in core, even though it's the same fucking principle. We also fixed the bug where players would hilariously be able to pick up turrets while controlling an HCXD. Could you imagine a micro machine speeding around the map with a sentry gun? It was fucking hilarious. We should have just left them in for the lulz. We also adjusted spawn logic for the lightning strike so that it would get some more kills. Speaking of spawns, we adjusted spawn logic in TDM and kill confirm to increase the chance of spawning with your team, because those are the only game modes that need spawn help. On to more game mode fixes. We updated the overtime rules for uplink to make it more complicated than the NFL overtime rules, and updated the regulation time limit conditions to make it how the game mode played in Advanced Warfare, because we don't actually know better all the time. We also reduced the score bonus for kills while carrying the drone in uplink and the flag in CTF, since people were abusing the fact that you could use the Ripper specialist weapon to get 300 points per kill while carrying around the OBJ. And in CTF, we finally fixed the bug where the custom game settings actually didn't do what they were supposed to. Oh, that Liz Dexia of mine. And of course, since Treyarch has a huge problem with math and counters, we patched a bunch of challenges and medals to work properly. But we're not good enough yet with math to fix the lopsided games in matchmaking, although we did try and do that one time, and that's when I had to hire even more bodyguards because neckbeards thought I implemented skill-based matchmaking. Come on, guys, I saw what that dumb design decision did to Advanced Warfare, so no, we didn't add it in for this patch either because 1, that would be way too much work for us, and 2, your anecdotal evidence of a handful of matches doesn't mean anything, especially when you have the DLC, because most people that play the DLC day 1 are those no-life versions that pad their stats like the Carolina Panthers, so of course you'll be playing against better players, you dumb shits. And we also added anti-cheat support so that people won't get into lobbies like this anymore. Yes, Double XP Weekend brings out the best of the community. Sweaty tryhards, boosting bitches, and cheating little cum dumpsters. Isn't that great? Of course, that means Schwantz doesn't have footage to do a series like that on YouTube anymore, but he's rich anyways and doesn't need the YouTube Skrilla. But Activision and Treyarch do, because we blew way too much of it on our marketing campaign to get people to cough up money for our DLC, which is mostly instant gratification because you gotta uninstall the DLC to play the game after the life cycle is over. Not to mention, we took Ghost's approach to map design. Put all the shite maps in the actual game and paywall the good ones.